channel. I'm Rachel, the owner and creator here at the Eclectic Cottage in Spokane, Washington. Today is the Friday before Christmas, so Merry Christmas. And for today's video, I kept it a little simple. I did a thrift flip. You might call it a furniture flip. Technically, it's a little piece of furniture. But for today's video, I made over the little piano bench that I found with my husband on our recent trip over to the west side of the state. And I showed you some fabric that I bought, and I knew it was going to be perfect on this cute little bench, and so that is my project for today. So I hope you enjoy it, and without further ado, let's get to the video. If you happen to watch my last thrift haul video, I showed you this beautiful fabric that I picked up when we were over on the west side of the state on our anniversary trip. And at the time, I didn't know what I was going to use it for. But then as we were out junking, we found this cute little piano bench. And I knew when I saw it, it would be perfect for that fabric. So we grabbed it and brought it home. And for this video, I am going to be redoing it. So first step was removing the top so that I could get the fabric off of the top and paint the base of it. So I just took the top off and then had to remove the little hinges and get things ready. Now, when I bought it, I really didn't inspect it very well, and I didn't realize just how much damage was on the base of this thing. And the only real solution here was to go ahead and just remove the wood from the bottom and put a new piece of wood in there. It was so warped and just cracked and damaged from age that it was just not usable anymore. So I took that out and just set it aside, and then began the tedious process of removing all the staples to get the upholstery off of the top. Now, when I started removing staples, I realized there was more than one layer of fabric on this, so I got to do this whole process not once, but twice. So I went around and just loosened up the staples, and then I used my wire cutters to kind of pull them out. And then it was on to the second fabric. I don't know what this tape was all about, but of course I took that off too. So again, this one was so old that it was actually nailed down with really old, tiny, rusty nails. So I was trying to be really, really careful to not stab myself with one of those old nails while I carefully removed that last bit of fabric from this thing. So again, just working my way around the whole piece. And then you can see I'm gingerly trying to take that off without hitting any of those nails. Really didn't want to get tetanus over this project. Then once that was done, I set it aside, and it's time to start working on the base again. It was pretty filthy, so I grabbed my Krud Kutter and sprayed it down really, really well with Krud Kutter and then wiped it down. It was so tacky and sticky and gross. It didn't even smell good. It was just amazing how dirty it was, even though it really didn't look like it. Once I wiped all the Krud Kutter back, I went over it with some clean water just to remove any of that sticky, tacky residue that might be left behind. And then it was on to painting. Now for this piece, I decided to go dark to really kind of pop that fabric off of it. And I am using Sweet Pickins Milk paint in the color Lantern. And for this piece, I decided to take a risk and not use any extra bond and just see what would happen as far as chippiness goes on this old finish. So it's kind of a gamble when you work with milk paint and you leave out that extra bond, because you really honestly don't know what you're going to get when it's finished drying. So I just went ahead and went with it and painted this up. I gave it 2 good even coats of the milk paint and then set it aside to dry, and moved on to finishing the top. So I cut out my piece of fabric, just kind of laid it on the top there, smoothed it out really well, and then used my fabric scissors that no one's allowed to touch unless it's, for fabric, and cut out my piece. And once that was done, again, I just kind of smoothed it out, got it ready, started up my handy dandy air compressor. Poor Salty, she does not like the air compressor at all, scares her. So she ran away, my poor kitty. But anyway, I smoothed it out and then flipped it over and began stapling the fabric down. So here I just kind of pull it up nice and tight, and then staple one side, and then I flip it over and pull it taut and then staple the other side. And then I do both ends. And once I've got all of that done, I go back through and do my corners. So I just kind of pinch it and then pull it tight and then put a few staples in to hold each corner down. And once that was all finished, I decided I really wanted the bottom of this to have a little bit of a cleaner look. I noticed that this fabric tends to fray quite a bit, and I didn't want there to be a bunch of extra strings hanging down or having it look all tacky. So I went around and just very carefully folded the edge of the fabric in all the way around and then just stapled it down so that it was a little bit cleaner look when you opened the piano bench later on down the road. So there's that all done and ready to go back on. Then it's back to the bench, and you can see here some of the chippiness that I got from the milk paint. And so next step is taking it outside and sanding it. So I grabbed my 220 grit sandpaper and just gave it a really good hand sand. I did get quite a bit of chippiness, especially on the legs for whatever reason. And I really liked the look of it. It definitely gives it a more aged, antique look. And since this is an old piano bench, I felt it was appropriate. And once that was done, I grabbed a damp shop towel and wiped off all the sanding dust. And then it was time to seal my paint. For this, I picked Sweet Pickins oil wax in black. And with this, it is a liquid wax. And so you just need to brush it on, or you could use like a cheesecloth or even a paper towel to apply it. I like to use a chip brush. It makes it easier. So I just give it one good even coat, making sure to get in all of the little nooks and crannies with that oil wax, and then you just let it set for about 15 to 20 minutes and then come back in and wipe back all of the excess. I really like to make sure and go over my piece pretty thoroughly and wipe back all of the excess oil wax. It will dry, so if you miss a spot or there's some in a little crack or crevice that you can't get to, it will set up and dry over time. I just liked mine to be as dry as possible because I don't want to leave fingerprints in it if I have to touch it or move it, and that will happen if you leave any of that oil wax on your piece. Then it was time to replace my hinges and put the top back on, which you guys, if you could see all of the video, this took me almost 45 minutes. It was just a mess. I put the hinges on, had to take one back off, put it on the top, then put that back down. The other one I actually put in backwards and had to take it back off and reattach it. This was not a fun process for me at all, but I managed to get it done, and you will see here right at the end, I do a little celebratory, throw my hands in the air because I was finally done. Yay, I won. Then very last step was tracing out the bottom onto a piece of birch plywood that we had, and thankfully I had a piece that was almost perfect for the base of this. You're not going to see my husband actually cut this out and reattach it. He really does not like being in my videos, but he used a jigsaw and cut it out for me and then reattached it to the base, and then this piece was finished. I absolutely love how this little piano bench came out. think of my little piano bench makeover. I hope you liked it. I really love how it came out. I love the authentically aged look that the chippiness of the milk paint gave it. So I was really happy with how that all turned out. Again, like I said in the video, it's kind of a gamble sometimes when you leave out that extra bond, because you really don't have any control at that point over what exactly your finish is going to look like when it's done chipping. So I'm thankful for how it turned out. I love the fabric, and I really think it turned out to be a sweet little piece. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up. I so appreciate that. If you haven't already, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel, and then just follow along by hitting the little notification bell. And let me know in the comments below what you think of the fabric and my beautiful transformation on that little bench. For Tuesday's video, I've already started working on a little vignette of some pieces I've had sitting around in my kitchen for a while. And that is going to be my goal for the month of January, is to go through some of the items in my stash and really work on dwindling down some of the things I have sitting around that are all underfoot. My kitchen has become a little bit of a mess, and I really need to get it organized for 2024. So no thrifting, no thrift hauls. It's all going to be about getting projects done and completed and things out of my kitchen. So I hope you'll follow along for those. Like I said, for Tuesday's video, I've already started on creating a little vignette with some awesome colors from DIY and some beautiful paper from Redesign with Prima. So I'm looking forward to showing that to you. So please join me on Tuesday for those. That'll be the day after Christmas. So again, very Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you on Tuesday. Bye.